The annual Christmas group dinner at the university was one of the most anticipated events of the year, where final year students celebrated the culmination of their hard work before the pressures of graduation took over. Tola Adeyemi adjusted the sleeves of his white shirt, feeling slightly out of place amidst the glittering decoration. As a final year medical student at a private university, his days were consumed with textbooks, late night study sessions, and rotations at the teaching hospital. He rarely attended social events, but his friends at this rotation had dragged him along, insisting he needed a break. He scanned the room, admiring the vibrant decorations and cheerful faces. That's when he saw her, a young woman with a radiant smile, wearing the most striking dress in the room, a rich beige and cream gown with intricate beadwork. The dress hugged her figure perfectly. The neckline was elegant, the sleeves were delicate and flowing. She looked like she belonged on a runway rather than a student party. Tola couldn't look away. There was something about the confidence with which she wore the dress, the way her eyes sparkled with joy as she laughed with her friends. He felt a pull toward her. Gathering his courage, he walked over, clearing his throat. Hi, I couldn't help but notice your dress. It's incredible. She turned to him. Thank you. He hesitated, then asked, Where did you get it if you don't mind me asking? Her eyes danced with amusement. I made it. Tola blinked with surprise. You made this? She nodded, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. Yes, I'm a final year fashion design student. I made a few of the other outfits here tonight too. Tola's admiration deepened. That's really impressive. I'm Tola, by the way, final year medicine. Lola, she replied, extending her hand. Nice to meet you, doctor to be. He chuckled, shaking her hand. And nice to meet you too, designer to be. Their hands lingered for a moment longer. So, Tola, do you always walk up to strangers and compliment their outfits? Only when they are worth the compliment, he replied with a smile. She laughed. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. They spent the rest of the evening talking, lost in their own world despite the noise around them. Tola was drawn to Lola's passion for fashion design. Her stories of late nights spent stitching fabric and sketching designs. She was so creative, driven, and full of life, so different from the rigid structure of his medical studies. Lola, in turn, was fascinated by Tola's dedication to becoming a doctor. He spoke about medicine with a quiet intensity that revealed just how much he cared about helping people. He had a kind heart, a gentle smile, and a determination that inspired her. By the end of the night, they exchanged numbers. I'd love to see more of your designs, Tola said. His eyes were sincere. And I'd love to hear more about your world, Lola replied as they parted ways. The warm lights of Ikoyi glowed softly in the evening haze as Tola parked his car in front of his family's mansion. The house, a sprawling estate surrounded by high walls and manicured gardens, was a symbol of the Adeyemi family's wealth and status. Tola often felt like an outsider here, a reluctant prince in a castle of expectations. He sighed just before pushing open the heavy front door. Ha, Tola, came the sharp, commanding voice of Mrs. Olabisi Adeyemi. She stood in the hallway, regal in a tailored Ankara dress. Good evening, Mom, Tola said, forcing a smile. Welcome home, son. As Tola entered the lavishly decorated room, he couldn't shake the memory of the night before. The sparkle in Lola's eyes as she laughed with him at the annual Radisson Blu Hotel Christmas concert. He doesn't miss the concert every year, and this year he invited Lola. He had introduced her to his friends proudly. Her emerald green dress, designed by her own hands, making her the center of admiration. Tola felt something rare and wonderful in her presence, genuine happiness. but he was unaware his mother had been watching. The day after the Radisson Blu Hotel Christmas concert, Mrs. Adeyemi paced the marble floors of her living room, recalling the moment she saw her son with this stunning young woman in the emerald dress. The girl was beautiful, poised, and clearly talented, the kind of woman who could turn heads in any gathering. Perhaps, Mrs. Adeyemi thought, this could be a good match for Tola. But curiosity quickly turned into suspicion. Mrs. Adeyemi prided herself on knowing the pedigree of anyone associated with her family. She decided to do her research before giving her approval. Her driver took her to Lola's boutique in Surulere under the guise of having a dress made. The shop was small, but it was filled with vibrant fabrics and elegant designs. Lola was there, smiling warmly as she attended to a customer, her eyes lighting up with passion for her craft. Mrs. Adeyemi's heart sank. This wasn't the legacy she envisioned for her son. She wanted a woman from a family of wealth and power, someone who could elevate their status, not drag it down with humble beginnings and modest ambitions. If you are enjoying this story, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's continue. The next evening, Tola walked into the house with a spring in his step. He found his mother waiting in the sitting room, with her face looking like a mask of cold fury. "Sit down, Tola," she commanded. He frowned, immediately sensing the tension. "What's wrong, Mom?" "I saw you yesterday," she said, her voice low and dangerous. "With her." He paused. "You mean Lola?" "Yes, that girl," Mrs. Adeyemi spat. "I did my research. She's the daughter of a late seamstress, living in a flat in Surulere. Do you know what people will say if you are seen with someone like that?" Tola's fist clenched. "I don't care what people will say. Lola is talented, smart, and kind." "She is beneath you," Mrs. Adeyemi's voice rose, her composure slipping. "I have given you everything. The best education, the best opportunities, and you want to throw it all away for a nobody? Don't talk about her like that, Mom," Tola shouted, his eyes blazing with anger. "She is more than a background. She's the woman I love." Mrs. Adeyemi's eyes flashed with something dark and dangerous. "You think love is enough? Love doesn't buy respect. Love doesn't uphold the Adeyemi name." "I don't care about the name, Mom. I care about being happy." Her voice dropped to a chilling whisper. "You will end this. Did you hear me? You will end it, or I will end it for you." A cold dread settled in Tola's stomach. What does that mean? But she didn't answer. She turned on her heel, her silence more terrifying than any words she could have spoken. Mrs. Adeyemi did not waste time. She moved swiftly, her mind set on tearing them apart. First, she spread rumors among Lola's social circles, planting seeds of doubt about her character. Then, she made calls to influential people in the university, hoping to ruin Lola's reputation. But none of it worked. Tola and Lola were so strong, their love a flame that refused to be extinguished. Her frustration grew into rage. She tried a lot of nasty gimmicks to separate them, but it did not work. After they both graduated from university, their love grew even stronger. Finally, Mrs. Adeyemi resorted to something darker, something she had never dared before. She arranged for Lola to be threatened, a reminder that the world of the elite was not a place she could belong. If you are enjoying this story, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's continue. It happened swiftly one evening. As Lola closed her boutique, two men stepped out of the shadows. "You think you are good enough for him?" one sneered. Before she could answer, a fist slammed into her side. She crumpled on the ground, pain radiating through her body. A foot connected with her ribs, then her back. She gasped for air, tear blurring her vision. "This is your warning," the other man hissed. "Leave Tola, or next time it will be worse." They vanished into the night, leaving Lola trembling in the evening cold. The next morning, Mrs. Adeyemi visited her. She didn't apologize. She didn't offer sympathy. Instead, she placed an envelope of cash on the table. "Take this and disappear," she said coldly. "It's best for everyone." Tears welled up in Lola's eyes as she clutched the envelope. Her heart shattered into pieces. "I love him," she whispered. Mrs. Adeyemi's face remained impassive. "Love won't protect you from what I can do." Lola's hands shook. She knew she had no choice. For Tola's sake and her own, she had to leave. This had gone on for too long. Mrs. Adeyemi kept increasing her offer each time she sent people to threaten her. Now she could not walk freely without worrying that someone might hurt her. She did not see a way out. It seemed like she had eyes everywhere around her. Will she leave? Will she stay? Will she tell her boyfriend? Comment continue to find out what Lola and Tola did next. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.